Built in 1996 and continually refurbished since 2012, Grandeur of the Seas is Royal Caribbean's oldest and smallest ship. Harkening back to the early 20th century, this ship provides a more traditional and intimate cruising experience. Join me as I give you a complete deck-by-deck tour of this beautiful ship. This tour takes place in the port of San Juan, Puerto Rico. As you can see here, very industrialized port with beautiful blue waters. We'll start here on deck 12. As you can see, this is a restaurant. Specifically, this is the Izumi Sushi restaurant. Being that it's at the very top of the ship, you get excellent views out the back end here, the sides, and the front actually looks down into the Viking Crown Lounge. Izumi is considered a specialty restaurant, and so it will cost extra. However, if you wish to splurge and treat yourself to a nice fancy lunch or dinner, this is an excellent place to come to. The camera I'm using for this tour, it's not a GoPro, but it's basically a generic version of the GoPro. There are some moments when the camera kind of flutters a little bit with the light, but I will be getting a better camera in the future. As you can see, I'm turning around here. The tables are small. It's not a large venue. It's very intimate, but again, it gives a great opportunity to escape from everything else at the very top of the ship and enjoy a lovely meal. As we walk down, we're heading to the Viking Crown Lounge. I'll look over here to the right, and these are one of the many set of stairs that you can take to go down to the lower levels. There are 2 elevators that take you up here, but at night this place becomes the main spot for dancing, silent discos, parties. During the day, it's an excellent escape from the business below. This is one of many concierge clubs, so if you have a concierge suite or if you are a diamond member, I believe you can access that little lounge area. The cool thing is the majority of this room is open to everyone. This is a wonderful spot if you do not want to be on the pool but still enjoy watching people act crazy and just be weird. This is a great spot to read, to relax. One thing I like to do is when my wife was passed out sleeping in the cabin, if I couldn't sleep, I would go get myself a drink from the bar, come up all the way to the top here and just relax. Again, I can't reiterate this enough. This place is the ultimate escape if you just need some peace and quiet. Now, as you can see, this gives wonderful views of the pool deck as well as other ships. On the left-hand side there you saw Carnival Magic, I believe. Carnival Magic was definitely a bigger ship, but it's one of the smaller ones in Carnival's fleet. Now, Grandeur of the Seas is a wonderful experience. Since it's older, it gives a more traditional vibe than the big, massive floating cities like Ovation of the Seas or Symphony of the Seas. But it gives you enough space to be comfortable, to relax, but also to do things as well. There's tons of activities done every single day. Because this was a port day, a lot of people were off the ship, which gave me a great opportunity to give you this tour. We are now on deck 10, and deck 10 is right above the main pool deck, which is deck 9. Now here coming up, one of my favorite spots here on the ship, just angle the camera down and you're looking straight down into the centrum. It's like the central atrium that binds everything together. The older class of ships have these centrums, and it's wonderful because it gives you a central point to get your bearings. On a ship, it's very easy to lose track of where you're at, which way is left, which way is right, because you're not in your typical surroundings. The Centrum is also where you'll find a bunch of shows, activities, games, bars, just a wonderful place to just hang out. One neat thing, on every single deck, it gives you a deck plan, and it tells you exactly where everything is at on that deck. So for example, deck 10 doesn't have that much stuff on it, because it's up near the top. It does have restrooms, as you can see, but if you're more into fitness and being outdoors and taking care of your health, deck 10 offers a complete wraparound running track. And if you're tired of running, you can walk. I'm going out to the side here showing another view of San Juan. Again, it is a really pretty city, but we just didn't have the energy to go out. This was our last actual port, and we wanted to take the day just to relax and enjoy practically an empty ship. As I come back around here, I'm going to go in the rear of the ship, which is known as the aft. As I walk down here, you'll notice the big, huge balls up there. Those are basically how the ship gets its internet. The internet is optional as a cruise passenger. You honestly don't have to have it. It's a luxury. My wife and I didn't really use it that much. In fact, we used the Wi-Fi in the cruise ports. A lot of cruise ports have free Wi-Fi, which was nice. And in San Juan, it's an American territory, so we can use our phones. This is the solarium. It's the adults-only covered pool section that, again, gives another space to just get away from any screaming kids, if there are any. And it offers just another place to get some sun, relax in the pool, and enjoy just a quieter environment. As you can tell, there are more than enough lounge chairs around the entire ship. There's some classic shuffleboard there. I never played that, but there is an option. There's Carnival's ship. It's a few decks bigger than ours, and you can see Carnival renovated theirs and added some more slides. If you want a ship that has a lot of kid-friendly stuff, like activities, shows, bumper cars, games, slides, thrilling experiences, Grandeur of Seas is not for you. You would want the bigger ships, like the Quantum class or the Oasis class. Now, to be fair, there is a kids and teens club on this ship, and there are activities for them to do, but to be honest, they might get bored, mainly because this ship does not have all the fancy doodads that the bigger ships have. Grandeur of Seas is part of the Vision class. In the Vision class, you have other ships just like this one that are more port intensive, so they can go more places and do more things than the bigger ships can. The bigger the ship, the fewer the ports they can actually dock in because they're so massive. I would say Grandeur of the Seas is definitely better for adults who want to enjoy a relaxing cruise experience. This is the aft end of the ship, and this is the rock wall. Royal Caribbean is known for their rock walls. They recently added this one, I think back in 2012, I believe, 2016, as part of their major renovation of the ship. If you're big into fitness, you have the running track outside, but you also have the gym, which I'm about to go into. The gym is not huge, but it surprisingly had a lot of space. So if you're the type of person who likes to wake up early, get a workout in, or work later at night, you can access this gym facility. This is free. It's included in your cruise fare. As you can tell, it's a little packed in the rear end of the gym, but up in the front area, it has a decent amount of space. Now, for complete transparency, I was never here during the cruise. This was the only time I actually walked in the gym was to do this ship tour. There's me looking ridiculous. But I will say though, this gym does offer phenomenal views, especially if you're out on sea. Now what's interesting about this location, you can access the gym on deck 10 like I just did, or you can access it through the Vitality Spa. Now the spa is an extra charge. Okay, it does not come with your cruise fare. On day 1, they will give you a free tour of the spa, like the people who work there. They'll show you what they offer. But as far as the services at the spa, massage, facials, hot stone treatment, saunas, all that is an extra charge. But again, if you want to treat yourself, go for it. It was a very nice area, definitely smelled wonderful. As I walk out of the spa, I will take you into the solarium. Technically, I am on deck 9 now. I'll be going back up to deck 10 here in a minute. But this direction just made the most sense with how I was walking. I'm now exiting the spa into the solarium. Now I need to give this quick little disclaimer. It is geared as an adults only area. However, Grandeur of the Seas denotes the word adult as 16 and above. So you will see teenagers in here, but they don't stay there for that long because they're surrounded by, well, old people. Now there were a couple times where you did see actual kids here. If the main pool is closed for whatever reason, they do allow kids and the families to come here. The good news is that was not often. Plus, this pool in the back is much smaller than the main one. Now this is one of the many cafes here on the ship. Currently they're not serving food at the moment. But the nice thing is that's the park cafe. This food option is included in your cruise fare. And if you're hungry and if the breakfast, main dining room, or if the buffet is not open for lunch or dinner, you can go by the park cafe and they will be open. Especially if it's late at night. If you have like a late night hankering for pizza or sandwiches, park cafe is open till 1 a.m. So that's a good option for you. There's some more lounge chairs. There's another bar there. Has like a Greek theme to it. Here I go, exiting the solarium onto the main pool deck. Again, we're on deck 9. One thing I love about these older ships is the amount of wood on board, like actual wood. You have the wooden pool deck, you have wood accents, you have wood furniture, just all over the ship. Again, it gives you a very traditional cruise feeling that you would get in the early 20th century and from that. Now I'm going back up to deck 10. Here's more of the running track, more lounge chairs. One good thing I will mention is if you are on a tight budget and you can't afford a balcony but still want a balcony experience, just come up here. There it is. There's your balcony. We got an ocean view room and it was perfect. It still allowed you to see out of your room, but without having to worry about losing air conditioning if you open the balcony. You can just come up here, take a look at the side of the ship and enjoy the views. At night, whenever I would go refill my water bottle, I loved coming up here because at night, if you're on the ocean, there's no lights anywhere. And if you look up, you would see countless stars. It was absolutely beautiful. I should clarify. There are some lights, like the little lights right there to your left, those little street lamp looking lights. Those are on, but they do not provide enough light to, block out the stars. As I continue forward here, to my right, that is going to be the kids and teens area. They do have dedicated staff who are trained and certified in, childcare. One thing I will say, the Royal Caribbean staff was absolutely phenomenal. Their customer service was beyond measure. I was honestly shocked at how great we were treated by all the workers on the ship. And to be clear, if you work on a cruise ship, you work every single day. You don't get a day off. If you do, it's rare. They work every single day, they have shifts, but they are treated very well. And of course, that then results in great customer service. This, I guess, would be considered deck 10 and a half because I guess it would be deck 11. This is more of an observation deck. It just gives you a higher, way to view the ocean. There's another view of Carnival Magic. Here in a minute, you'll see I'll look down the center window area. That actually looks down into the Windjammer. The Windjammer is the main ship's buffet area. You can go there for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. My wife and I only really ate there for breakfast. We did lunch one time and it was fine. It's not bad. It's actually good food. We just prefer getting lunch in the cafes around the ship. Dinner in the main dining room and then breakfast at the Windjammer. Okay, here we go, continuing on deck 10. We are about to end this deck, actually. On the right-hand side, this is the other half of the youngins area. The side you saw before was for the kids, babies, young kids, but then this side is where you see all the teens at. That little window looks down below to the deck below. That big white thing on the left is actually the movie screen. It's pretty cool. Most nights they had movies playing under the stars. Felicia and I watched Puss in Boots: The Last Witch on there, which is really cool. This is some interesting artwork. One thing I gotta say, around the ship, the artwork was actually really cool. This is that baby's area, as I was saying. And you also have the Challenger Video Arcade. We never went there because it is an extra cost. And it's not that big. This ship has a really small arcade. But hey, if you have kids or teens on board that want a little escape from everything else, give them a budget and they can go on there. As I head back, again, this is the area where you would drop off the babies, the kids would go to, the teens would be at. And like I mentioned, the staff here are pretty phenomenal. They're all trained, certified in childcare, and yeah, that's their focus. Alright, as I head out here, I'll be going back to the main elevators. Here's some Royal Caribbean souvenir stuff you can get. You can access those actually in the shops down below, which you'll see that on deck 6, I think. This was a pretty sunny day, so I got a little bit of sunburn. It wasn't too bad, but I got a slight sun rash actually when we were down in the solarium enjoying the quiet pool. I made the mistake of sitting under the enclosed glass. The sun obviously came through and it burned me. So yeah, that was fun. But the rest of the cruise, I really didn't get that badly burnt. Alright, let's continue down here. We're going to be heading back to the main 2 elevators you saw before. This is a really big port. On the left hand side you see the actual cruise terminal. One interesting thing about San Juan, Puerto Rico is because it's a US territory, and since it's such a large port, you can actually start your cruise here. In fact, I know Southwest Airlines, they actually fly to Puerto Rico. You would obviously need to make a stop in Florida, but you can go there. And you can actually start your cruise in Puerto Rico. That's the main terminal down there. Okay, we're heading back to the main elevators here. Like I mentioned before, waiting on the elevators can take some time, but on a day like today where there's no one on the ship, it was super quick. You have these two elevators, and then you have four behind me at that spot. And then we're going down to deck 9. Deck 9 is where all the chaos happens. It's not that bad. But the reality is, on sea days, the bulk of the passengers are going to be on this deck. Here you have the solarium in the back there, which we already visited. And you have the main pool deck. This is where we're exploring currently. I'm trying to stay out of the sun. On both sides, you have a decent amount of lounge chairs, tables, services. So you have a towel station, a child safety vest. The floaters are here as well. You can borrow. You have 4 hot tubs, I believe, and 1 main pool on this deck. One side is for smoking, the other side is non-smoking. During the day, there will be things on the TV like, fail videos, funny pet videos, things that are fine for the whole family, clearly. Under the big screen, you have a bar, and that's the main pool bar. What's really nice is you can just be on the lounge chair, and they actually have attendants walking around, and they can take your drink order as you lounge on the chair, and they'll bring your drink to you, which is really neat. Now I'm going to the front of the ship, which is where the Windjammer is. Here's a lady giving out the included soft serve ice cream, which is actually really good. It was super delicious. Now this was the lunchtime. The Windjammer is the main place you want to go for the buffet selection. Again, all you can eat, and it's all included. I angled my camera a little bit just because I didn't want to go in and just blatantly be like, hey, I have a camera in your face. I didn't want to do that. Okay, on your right you have a salad selections. You have sandwich options, deli meats, things like that. That's one of the 2 drink stations to get your waters, your juices, and your coffee. Again, all of that is included in your fare. The design of this is pretty simple. It can get pretty crowded during peak times, but if you're going to the Windjammer for lunch on a port day, it's totally fine. It's delightful. There's like no one there. So you got your hot items, your desserts, your cold items spread throughout. The selection is actually not that bad. I thought it would be a lot less, but every day you're going to see barbecue. Every day they also had Indian food. That was like another staple is Indian food. You have a pasta station there. You have your traditional things like hot dogs, hamburgers, things like that. They do have different themed days. So one day will be like Mexican themed, French themed, Italian themed. Now, as you just saw, I had to skip ahead a little bit because I had to lower my camera for a moment just to not look weird. But I'm still on deck 9. I'm getting back out to the pool deck. This is the smoking section. That's right, yeah. And I'll be gradually moseying my way down to the elevators. Again, if you want to avoid people in general and just craziness, you don't need to be on the pool deck. Okay? On a port day where there's not many people, then you can come to the pool deck and enjoy, a more open environment. Even though this is a small ship, there were still kids on board, but again, it wasn't that bad. You're not gonna get the masses as you would on like the bigger ships. One really neat thing about this port in particular is this was the place where the ship was actually going through a surprise inspection. Yeah, the Coast Guard was doing a surprise inspection on the whole ship, on the food, the cleanliness, the operations, everything. And what's really neat is a couple days after I did this tour on our last sea day, Felicia and I did a little ship galley tour, and the workers were telling us that their inspection got a 98%, 98 out of 100, which is pretty freaking amazing. That was the best score out of the entire fleet. Yeah, seriously. It was pretty fantastic, and they were very proud of that. So yeah, point is, just because the ship's old does not mean it's going to be messy or dingy. This ship was extremely clean, very well maintained, and yeah, they earned themselves 98%. Alright, these next two floors are going to be kind of different. Floors 8 and 7 are just staterooms. I should say deck. Decks 8 and 7 are the staterooms. This is where you're going to see your balconies. Because this is such a small ship, you're not going to have that many options for balconies, but the few that do exist are on these decks. Here you see a bunch of artwork you can look at and also purchase, from what I understand. Here are some interesting statues. At first I thought that was an actual person when we first boarded, but it's not. But this is really neat. If you want to watch what's going on in the Centrum, but if you don't want to get involved, decks 7 and 8 are great places to be. You're in your little space, you can, if you're an introvert, you can be up here and enjoy what's going on, but you're not going to be in the craziness of what's happening on the main deck below. And again, I apologize for the light flutter happening on the camera. I need to fix that. But yeah, these hallways go throughout the length of the ship. This is where you'll find your grand suites, your junior suites, your balconies. And I do think there are actually a couple ocean views on these floors. These ocean view rooms have floor-to-ceiling windows instead of just the porthole like we had. Just peeking down there. There's really no point in going down the whole hallway. What's also convenient, if you get confused on where you're at, you can look at those little ship models there on every floor and you can figure out where to go. Now this is interesting. That's a little metal platform for performers actually. Sometimes they actually have acrobatic shows in that Centrum. And so the performers would actually set up, get their cables on and harnesses when they're standing on those metal platforms. Deck 7 will be a very quick stop because again it's just staterooms. Here's some more artwork. Actually pretty good. More places to sit, enjoy some quiet. And the floors below is where you'll find most of the activities. As we head down one more. The newer ships do not have this Centrum, that central atrium design. They have what's called a promenade. So it's like an indoor long hallway, I guess you could say that. It's like in Vegas, you know how you have that long strip with like the videos and the lighting above you? It's like that. It's like one long hallway with all your shops and stalls and whatnot. This is the schooner bar. This is a delightful little area. This is where you're going to have a lot of karaoke, piano music, trivia. Plus, it's just a really cool place to hang out. It has excellent views. Another good bar there. The seats are very comfortable. And honestly, if you just want a spot just to hang out, have a few drinks, enjoy the ambiance, the schooner bar is fantastic. We met with few people in this area just to chat a little bit, enjoy the view. It gets way more lively at night, obviously. As you can see, the colors, the wood design, the carpet layout is really nice. Again, it gives that old school traditional feel. Here we're looking at Giovanni's Table. This is another specialty restaurant. Again, it's not included. This requires an extra charge. Giovanni's Table is a Italian-themed restaurant. Really nice, really pretty, but again, you don't have to spend money to go there. If you do choose to go there, you pay a flat rate. So each person pays a certain amount, and that covers all the food as much as you want. But it's still an extra charge. Now, probably one of my favorite spots on the ship is the South Pacific Lounge. This is where we're going to now. I love the red carpet. I love the wood. The dark gold accents are just fantastic. This does not feel like a spaceship like freaking NCL. This does not feel like a fancy hotel. It feels like a cruise ship. Just a massive area. Again, this is where you have karaoke, activities, trivia. I do believe you will have some performances here too, beyond just, activities. But you can come here anytime you want. It's open. You can arrive for actual scheduled things on the ship cruise compass. This place is really cool. You can come here anytime you want. You can participate in what's happening there, or you can just go there to do your own thing and lounge around. This is the Diamond Club. This is for people who have diamond status. So basically, the more you sail, the more points you get. The more points you get, the higher status you earn. For first-timers like me, it wasn't really a big of a deal that we couldn't be there. It's just another space that you can lounge in. The Diamond Lounge and the Concierge Club do have little bites to eat throughout the day, and they also have espresso machines and other specialty coffees. But that's pretty much it. Okay, now I'm heading back to the main area on this deck. This is deck 6. You probably noticed this has a South Pacific theme. You saw some artwork, some Polynesian ship models. That's the overall vibe in this section. Video got a little blurry there. That's weird. Oh, one cool thing, as you noticed on the right, was the hand sanitizer station. There's a bunch of these all over the ship. So if you're a germaphobe, or if you're really concerned about being healthy on a cruise ship, honestly, it's kind of unwarranted, because there are countless hand sanitizer stations all over the ship. In the restrooms, they're cleaned like constantly. I would argue a cruise ship is actually going to be cleaner than your typical hotel. You have workers maintaining the place 24/7. There's another quick little cut there. I had to do that just because of a camera issue. Now this is one of the main stairwells. So if you don't want to use elevators, you can use these stairs here on the left. At this moment, I'm taking you to the Chops Grill. It's right next to Giovanni's Table. I didn't really go in. I didn't want to be weird like that. I just looked in there. That's where you're going to find all your fancy steak options. Now this is a cruise tradition. You're going to find little duckies around the ships. That one I found by complete accident. And you can either keep these ducks, or you can hide them for the next person. Because it was our first cruise, we chose to keep the 2 that we found. But on our next cruise, we'll probably hide them. I don't know. We'll see how the wife feels. More areas to lounge. Look at what's going on down below, or you just do your own thing. One thing I will say, if the event on the bottom level there gets really loud, it will still be kind of loud on the higher levels. It does get quieter the further back you go, and the soundproofing in the cruise ship is actually really good. We stayed on deck 4, which was the main centrum level, and we didn't hear anything. This is the Coca-Cola Freestyle machine. If you get the soda package, you get unlimited sodas from these machines here, which are really, really good value. This is the art gallery. Right now, it wasn't full of actual photos, but during the typical cruise days, you will see photographers all around the ship taking pictures, and they're professional photos. And if you want, you can actually buy them, 1-to-1 or in a package. We bought 1 photo of I think our first formal night at dinner, which is really cool. These are the shops. This is where you're going to find all your stuff. Sundries, perfumes, jewelry, watches, clothing. They have a lot of stuff here, actually. Now, they will entice you with shopping there. They're not going to like pull you in and say, hey, shop with us. But they will send you little cards, brochures, little coupons, just to encourage you to come shop in their little stores. Everything is tax-free. It's all duty-free on a ship. So that's nice. But keep in mind, one word of warning. If you choose to buy alcohol on the ship, you are not going to be able to actually open the bottle on the ship. You won't get it until the last day of the cruise when you get at your final cruise port when you get off. So, just word to the wise. There's some more really good artwork in the stairwells. What you just saw to the left coming up here is the theater. The theater on this ship is known as the Palladium Theater. It's actually really nice. When you walk in, you have the first level, and then actually, no, I'm sorry. This is the top level. My bad. This is the second level. And then below is the first level. The theater overall is really nice. The seats are big. They all have drink holders, so you can bring your drinks while you're watching the show. The shows themselves are actually really good. The only show we didn't really like was the first one. It was like a Broadway variety show where they just sang and danced different songs, and it was fine, but that was with the old cast, and they really weren't that good. But the new cast came on board, and let me tell you, the new cast was phenomenal. Every other show in that theater was amazing. The comedians were hilarious. The singers were great. I think the best show there was Tango Buenos Aires. We watched that twice. That's typically how it works. You'll have 2 shows in the evening. So, if you have the late dinner, you can still see a show after, either before or after the dinner. Alright. Heading back on the other side of the shops. If you are in a pinch, like if you forgot toothpaste, deodorant, feminine products, that kind of thing, you can get them here in the shops. They are available. I don't know if they're cheaper or more expensive. I would assume they'd be more on the expensive side. I didn't need to get any, but, they are here if you need them. Because we're at a port, they are closed, but they are open whenever you are at sea. Now this takes you to, it's like a small art gallery, but this is where you actually make the purchases. If you see a piece of art that you like, you can go to these desks and you can work with the art managers and buy it from them. If you like specialty coffee, like Starbucks, you can go here. Keep in mind though, specialty coffee costs extra. But this, what you're seeing in the little glass there, that's included, which is really cool. A lot of people don't know that. If you don't want to eat at the Windjammer, if you don't want to eat in the main dining room, or Park Cafe, you can go there. Just ask for a sandwich, ask for a wrap, ask for some desserts. All that's included. The only thing that's not included is the specialty coffees, like cappuccinos, Americanos, macchiatos, things like that. But just plain black coffee with milk, sugar, cream, that's fine. That's included. All right, here's another ship model of that certain deck. Tells you where you are and where to go. Now we are heading back down to deck 5. What we would typically do each night, we would go to dinner, go back to our room, get our Coca-Cola Freestyle cups, put a little bit of rum in there, then go to the Coca-Cola Freestyle machine and fill it up with whatever soda you want. And then we would go to the show and enjoy some rum and coke while watching the show. This artwork was really cool. This was actually painted artwork, and they had physical things put on top of it. This is the Great Gatsby Dining Hall. Honestly, this was the best part of the cruise. Was coming in every night at your reserved table and enjoying dinner. This had a 1920s retro theme and I absolutely loved it. It was Art Deco themed. Again, very traditional, classic. I absolutely loved this. So the top level is my time dining. What that means is between like 5:30 to 9:30, I believe. You can go there anytime you want, but you may have to wait for a table because it's like a typical restaurant. They have to wait until there's an open table. So on the second floor, you're going to see more two tops where the table just has 2 seats. Now down below is traditional dining. Now that is where Felicia and I ate. Traditional dining is you have a set reserved time, either at 5:15 or 8. We chose 8 because we're late eaters. Now the thing about traditional dining is that you are assigned to a table and you are most likely going to sit with other people. If you don't like the group you're sitting with, I think you can get moved, but our group was phenomenal. It was truly an international table. People from Norway, England, the Dominican Republic, and Switzerland. It was actually really cool. And the food overall was actually really good. We didn't need to eat at the fancier restaurants because the food in the main dining room was great already. And all that is included. You can get as much as you want. If you don't like a certain meal, just get something else and they'll bring it out to you. Alright. We are heading back to the other half of Deck 5. This is where you'll find your guest services and shore excursion desk. The excursion desk is really good if you want to make like a last minute tour on the island. They can work that out for you. The guest services is 24 hours. If you have any issue, any question at all, there will always be someone there for you, which I think is really neat. You have ATM machine, and this is a cute little model of the ship. I personally really like Royal Caribbean's overall design of their ships. Okay, now we are heading to the casino. On the left here you have a bunch of awards and plaques that the ship has earned. And the casino is kind of unique. So when they're in port, they cannot operate because that would violate U.S. Laws. And they also close on other ports too. They just don't want to deal with the laws of that country. When they're at sea, they're open. I've walked through here multiple times, but I never played here though. If you like to gamble, if you want to, get the classic casino experience, feel free to go here. They have slots, tabletop games, craps, roulette, poker, you name it, they got it. There's also a bar in this casino as well. Casinos really aren't my thing, but if it's yours, go for it. I do know on day one of the cruise, there actually is like an hour of free lessons. So if you want to learn how to play certain games, the people who work there can teach you. Now this deck, deck 5, is also known as the Promenade deck. This is where you can go outside on the classic wooden promenade and walk around the ship. This statue is weird. It's a woman who is, well, quite nude, and she's holding an owl in a very weird position. So that's just the lady who's fondling an owl. But this is the first floor of the theater. If you look closely, you can see the cast actually practicing for a show later that night. Now we're going out to the promenade. Wait, not there. Sorry. I have this other door first. I could open the other door, but I'm lazy, so I'm going to let the door open by itself. I'm on vacation. I'm not doing any work. Like I was mentioning before, if you don't want to spend money on a balcony, just come up here. This whole promenade is open to you 24 hours a day. You can come out here in the morning, afternoon, or even late at night. At this port, there were some guys cleaning a certain section of it, but it's not that bad. This half was the smoking half, and the other side was the non-smoking side. It's pretty nice though. If you're sensitive to smoke, honestly, the casino would be worse for you. But because you're on the promenade, the smoke is pretty much gone because of the natural air out there. But you'll see people out here all the time, sleeping, reading a book, talking, just relaxing. And if you want to get your steps in, you can just walk along the promenade. The best time to be in the promenade, in my opinion, is during the sea days, where you see nothing but just ocean. Being on this part of the ship reminds me of the classic mystery shows. So Hercule Poirot solving the mysteries on the cruise ships. He's out there on the promenade with his little cane and his suit. The newer ships do have these promenades. However, I do not think they have the old school wood on the bottom. I think they're more of like a modern flooring. Some ships do have complete wraparound promenades. This ship did not. It was about, I'd say, 95% wraparound. The last 5% was actually at the front of the ship, and that was for maintenance and, the crew to work. What's nice is you can look at the menu before dinner time and get an idea of what's going to be there. So, if we didn't want to experience the taste of Asia, we could have gone to one of the cafes or the Windjammer buffet. Or to get room service. That's one thing I forgot. There is 24-hour room service. Continental breakfast is included in your cruise fare, but there is a flat rate cover charge for everything else. I think it was like $8, $12. But one thing to keep in mind though, if you get room service, there is gratuity added on top of it. It's an 18% gratuity. One really cool thing about cruises, though, before you actually finish paying for the cruise, you can actually prepay gratuities. The way it typically works is you pay for the room, the entertainment, all that. That's all included in your cruise fare. But after that, you can then buy trip insurance, which is just if there's anything that happens, you have insurance for it. And then you can prepay gratuities. If you don't prepay gratuities, which can range you a couple hundred to $400, if you don't do that, what's going to happen is throughout the cruise, everything you buy is going to automatically have a gratuity added onto it. So at the end of the cruise, you'll get a bill with all the gratuities that you owe. So, if you don't want to end the cruise with a bill, just prepay the gratuities. It makes your life so much easier. That's what we did. And honestly, the best feeling was finishing the cruise, and the statement is still printed out, and it shows you how much you owe. For me, it was 0. It was beautiful. Now, we got this through 3D Travels. They are the travel agency that we use. The actual travel agent is named Joy. She's wonderful. She's amazing. She really hooked us up. And before the cruise, she got us a $50 cruise credit. So what that means, a cruise credit is money in your cruise account that you can spend on whatever you want. You can spend it on getting alcoholic beverages. You can spend it on photographs, things you can buy from the shops, on a specialty restaurant, whatever it is. Now this is the aft of the ship, the back end. This is the Promenade. Great place to get some views. This is looking up back to the higher decks. One thing I want to mention too, earlier I showed y'all the Coca-Cola Freestyle machine and the coffee shop. When it comes to drink packages, the soda package is the cheapest and I would argue is the best value. Because if you bring your own drinks, you can bring 2 bottles of wine. You can mix those drinks with your sodas if you want to. Now, the other drink packages are a coffee package, which basically covers all the specialty coffees. That will just be an extra cost to your cruise fare. The deluxe drink package is the most expensive thing you can get, and that covers all drinks. So it covers all alcoholic drinks, sodas, coffees, everything. The thing is, the deluxe drink package is very pricey. For this cruise, it ended up being like $600 extra dollars, and it honestly wasn't worth it. We're like, that's crazy. Now, if you want to drink a lot, or if you don't want to have to worry about any price for anything, then go for it. But it just wasn't worth it for us. Oh, the ship you saw earlier to my right was the Celebrity Silhouette. The Carnival ship left by this point. The packages you can buy on the side are nice. If you like convenience, they're really nice, but you gotta ask yourself, is it worth it? You can also buy a specialty dining package, which you pay a large price up front, but that covers all the fancier dining options. And again, that's fine, but we didn't really need that. Wi-Fi also falls into that category. So if you want to purchase ship Wi-Fi, you have to get a Wi-Fi package for that cruise for each device. It's a separate charge for each person and each device. Keep that in mind. So if you have a family of 4, husband and a wife and 2 kids, that's 4 devices, 4 separate charges. That can get pricey. So for us, we didn't worry about it. Now we're going down to deck 4. Now back on the Wi-Fi. A lot of the ports have shops that provide free Wi-Fi. They can be coffee shops, jewelry shops. If you desperately need to connect to the internet, you can use those. And if you're stopping in a US territory like the Virgin Islands or Puerto Rico, you can use your phone data. That works, no issues. There is internet right there. Lastly, if you absolutely need to have Wi-Fi while on the cruise, and if you do not have a Wi-Fi package, you can actually reserve Wi-Fi for an hour, which is actually really cool. On the right here is the next cruise office. If you want to go ahead and book your next cruise while you're on a cruise, you can actually get a lot of really good savings. We didn't choose to do that because we already have a great travel agent who we're going to keep using. This is the R bar. The R bar is the main bar you see when you first get on the ship. This is deck 4. This is the main bottom of the Centrum. You can see some instruments there. Bands play there all the time. Singers are there. Here's looking up. A really cool feeling. Again, I love the open design. I love the color scheme here. The blending of the gold and the red. It's great. There's some more areas to lounge. This area actually is where you'll find the cruise library. It's not that big. There's a few books, a few games you can borrow and play for a little bit. It's okay. If this is an area for improvement, it's okay. I mean, they could definitely add more to it, but again, it's not really that big of a deal. Now this is the place for internet. So if you do need to use the internet, you can reserve that for an hour on your device. So they'll give you temporary access on your device. One thing we did hear though from other cruisers is that the Wi-Fi was kind of crappy in the staterooms. It only was good signal in the public areas. So, it's your decision, your call, but to me, it's really not worth it. Some more artwork. And I believe, yeah, here we are. We're going down to deck 3. That's right. The rest of the area on deck 4 is just staterooms. That's where we stayed at. So you'll see staterooms behind the R bar that I showed you. That's near the front of the ship. And the back of the ship is the theater. Wait, no, I'm sorry. The back of the ship on deck 4 would be the Great Gatsby Dining Hall. That's right. The theater's at the front of the ship. And these are the staterooms on deck 3. So yeah, the deck 2, 3, and 4 are staterooms. And that's where you'll find the interior staterooms and the ocean view staterooms. Interior is exactly what it sounds like. It's rooms on the inside of the ship. So like right there on the left-hand side is where you'll find the interior rooms. Those are the cheapest. And honestly, if you don't want a window, and if you want complete darkness and great air conditioning, that's where you want to go. For the ocean view rooms, you still get great air conditioning, but you also get an ocean view. You can see outside. If you don't like any type of natural light coming in, honestly, don't get an ocean view. The portholes do have curtains, and they're actually really good, but they don't block all light. So just keep that in mind. And this is deck 2. Again, just staterooms. You can get here by elevator or by stairs. If you're on a budget, you're most likely going to find yourself on these lower levels, which really aren't that bad. We were worried that we'd be super rocky and, moving along with the ship. It wasn't that bad at all. And for us, the slight rocking actually helped us sleep better. And the final stop on this full ship tour is deck 1. This is where you embark and disembark. Here you see some people coming back from Puerto Rico onto the ship. And this is also where you get to your medical facility. So if there's any medical issues, you go down here. And that's it. That is the entire deck tour of Grandeur of the Seas. Thank you for watching, and I hope you can book your next cruise soon.